today, the road to Indy tangles in the wild, wild west.
You're always passing, and if you get past a couple of guys, bang, there's more traffic ahead of you. It's like a bullfight, really.
There's sharpshooters who rarely miss, because if they do, it's disaster.
Yellow, yellow, yellow in turn 2. 2 cars involved.
The racing is just bloody, bloody tight.
So circle the wagons and lock the barn door. The Pep Boys Indy Racing League has come to town, and they're next on Fox Sports Net. That presents Pep Boys Indy Racing League Series. We're live in Phoenix, Arizona for the MCI World Comp 200. Good afternoon, I'm Dave Calabro, and welcome. It's a spectacular day as we prepare to go racing. This is the first of 8 races you'll see this year as we follow the Pep Boys Indy Racing League Series. Now, if you've never seen this form of racing before, well, you're in for a big-time treat. Strap on the old seatbelt because we're going to go high-speed drama here in the wild, wild west. And my colleague is 25-year racing veteran Jack Arute. Jack, a gorgeous day to go racing.
It is, and I'm going to give our viewers 3 words to consider throughout the course of the race: opportunity, open wheel, and ovals. Consider opportunity. For a team like Kelly Racing, they've already got Scott Sharp on the way to victory lane. He's won before. Mark Dismore qualified on the outside pole for this race. He'd like to cash in on that and join Sharp as an IRL winner. Then, of course, open wheel. In open wheel racing, you can't lay back on what you accomplished in the year before. You've got to push the envelope. That's the case with A.J. Foyt's team. They tried radically new suspension pieces, and in qualifying, they didn't work out. They're going to have to come from the back of the pack. And then there's just plain ovals. Things happen quick in oval racing. At 182 miles an hour, it can be devastating. In 1996, that was the case for Buddy Lazier, who in this crash crushed his back like oh so many eggs falling to a concrete floor. Since then, Lazier has come back to win the Indy 500, and he would like today to erase all the memories of 1996. Speaking of 1996, there was a soft-spoken man from Holland who scored the pole position and then went on to win only the 2nd Pep Boys Indy Racing League event ever held, right here at Phoenix International Raceway. His name is Arie Luyendyk, and no, he will not be in the starting field today because he is joining the team here on Fox Sports Net.
Thanks, Jack. Phoenix is a place that drivers love to race on. It's fast, everything happens very quick, but you have to have a good car. In qualifying, the fastest 1-mile oval in the country shows tremendous speeds, but in the race you need consistency. Guys like Sam Smith, Eddie Cheever, are guys that are starting in the back today, but they can go to the front because when they work on their car and they get their car to work, you go to the front in a hurry because you can also go to the back in a hurry if your car is not working. Things also happen fast when it comes to coming up on slower traffic or incidents. Last year, someone spun in front of me. I collected the car and my car went upside down. And went for quite a wild ride here because I had a lot of time to talk to my spotter on the way down towards the dogleg. Coming out of turn 2, ending up all the way in the dogleg is a long way to go upside down.
Yeah, well, we're glad you're okay, Arie Luyendyk. It's an honor to have you here on Fox Sports Net. Jack,
Thank you.
Preparing to go racing. And right now, let's go down to the pit area. Calvin Fish will be covering the pits along with Vince Welch. Let's start with Vince.
Scott Sharp is the winner here a year ago, and drivers always have a good feeling about tracks where they've won before. And Scott, you come here as the defending champion. Drivers all week have talked about how they like this track. Why is this a racetrack the drivers enjoy?
You know, Phoenix is a really exciting place to race, and it flows well. You get through 1 and 2, it leads you into 3 and 4, the lap's over. Some tracks you seem like you're fighting to different ends of the racetrack. This track, things happen quickly. It's just an exciting place to be in. Your car can go from being not so good to all of a sudden come in and be pretty quick. You're passing guys are passing back, a lot of action. It's just an exciting place to race on.
Scott Sharp hopes to make it 2 in a row today. Let's go to the pole sitter, Greg Ray. He's with Calvin Fish.
Throughout testing and practice, Team Menard kept the reins on Greg Ray, but yesterday in qualify they unleashed him, and boy did he respond. Greg, what are your final thoughts as you prepare for today's race?
Well, we tested here and we tested quick, and so we were able to kind of duplicate our time, and we know we have a quick car, but this is 200 miles in the desert, so it's going to be a shootout, and we don't have as much experience here in race conditions, but today is going to be a big education, and hopefully I can bring it home to victory lane.
Gearbox problems thwarted their challenge in Disney, but boy, are they going to bounce back strong here in Phoenix.
Thank you, Calvin Fish and Vince Welsh, covering the pits for us today here on Fox Sports Net. You can see the pre-race ceremonies continues. Here's Arie Luyendyk and Jack Arute with a look at the starting grid.
Row 1. It's a row of first. Greg Ray gathers in his first pole position. Mark Dismore, his first front row position. If you think they're having fun now, wait till they drop the green flag.
Row 2, Scott Goodyear and Roberto Moreno. Roberto making his first IRL start, and he's proving both guys go fast. Scott Goodyear is always fast.
Row 3, an interesting situation for Jeff Ward. A brand new car, a new team, Pagan Racing. For Scott Sharp, trying to defend his championship here at the Phoenix International Raceway.
Row 4, Donnie Beechler and Scott Harrington. Scott, a tremendous performance in qualifying, the fastest Infiniti in the field, the best performance for an Infiniti in the IRL so far.
5th row, Tice Carlson, they call him T-Bone. Raul Boisel getting a lift out of Tice Carlson. He gets more of a lift out of his row 5 starting spot.
Row 6, Roberto Guerrero, 1987 Phoenix winner, and Buzz Conkins, 1996 co-champion with Scott Sharp in the IRL, ready for today's race.
Row 7 finds a guy who learned how to drive in the World of Outlaws, converted that to the Pep Boys Indy Racing League Rookie of the Year. Robbie Unser on the inside of row 7. Outside is Eliseo Salazar.
Row 8, Buddy Lazier, 1996 Indianapolis 500 champion. And alongside is John Hollingsworth, who had a great warm-up session this morning.
The 9th row, an interesting matchup. Former semi-pro hockey player Robbie Buell, a winner in Pep Boys Indy Racing League history. Eddie Cheever, hot off his win in Orlando and his win in the Indy 500.
Row 10, Stefan Grégoire from France. 3 top 10 finishers here at PIR. And Sam Schmidt, hey, this guy's driving my Treadway car.
Row 11. When you're the Pep Boys Indy Racing League champion like Kenny Breck, sometimes you get beat up, especially with a guy like Marco Greco flanking you in that 11th row.
Row 12, Billy Bowden, Steve Knapp. Steve Knapp, last year's Indy 500 Rookie of the Year, alongside last year's pole sitter Billy Bowden. They might be different in size, but they're not different in the cockpit.
The 13th row finds John Paul Jr. coming out of road racing and Andy Michner coming out of dirt track racing.
Row 14, Jacques Lazier, Buddy Lazier's brother, and Davey Hamilton. Davey Hamilton did not qualify yesterday. He's starting in last place, but he's not going to stay there for long.
The MCI World Comp 200, the field is set. $1 million in prize money on the line, and we're going to go racing shortly. Those famous commands, gentlemen, start your engines, coming up next on Fox Sports Net. Welcome back. A beautiful day in Phoenix, Arizona. Dave Calabro, Jack Arute, Arie Luyendyk, Calvin Fish, and Vince Welsh preparing now for the MCI World Comp 200, the second race of the season, the Pep Boys Indy Racing League Series here on Fox Sports Net. Let's go downstairs for those famous words in racing. Here it is.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Show from Melrose Place with those famous commands. Should mention that Jacques Lazier will not be racing today, Jack.
Well, Lazier had an engine expire early this morning in the practice session. They don't have another one on hand, so he will not start this race.
All right, we love that sound. The engine's coming to life. Let's take a look at the weather conditions here today, and the track is going to be heating up in a hurry, I would imagine.
Track conditions are going to change for sure. This is the warmest day we've had since Friday, and the drivers and crews have to adjust during the race to get those cars to work in these kind of temperatures. Track temperatures going up. Very important to think about your car, your setup, while you're out there driving in traffic.
77 degrees, sunshine. A great day to go racing here in the Valley of the Sun. 28 cars in the starting field. We're going to go 200 miles, 200 laps, over $1 million in prize money on the line.
Now that fuel window will change depending on cautions.
All right, let's take you right around the racetrack, and this is a tricky racetrack.
Turn one, going into turn one, the cars reach speeds of up to 182 miles an hour. Turn 1 and 2 is the slowest part of the racetrack. The cars slow down to about 162 miles an hour here, but the drivers get out of the throttle, immediately pick up the throttle again, and then head towards the dogleg. The dogleg is a turn, but really the dogleg is not a turn for the drivers. It's just a straightaway for them. They're flat out all the way, going into turn 3, reaching speeds of up to 178, 182 going into turn 4, I'm sorry. Going into turn 3, right here is where the cars drop down to speeds of 175. Immediately the guys pick up the throttle here and head towards start finish line going into turn 1.
Yeah, Clark, you've done that before, Ari. Two-time champion here at Phoenix, Ari Leyendijk, in the booth all season long as we bring you Pep Boys Indy Racing League action. Let's take you on board now. The Pennzoil Panther machine carrying an onboard camera here on Fox Sports Net. This is Scott Goodyear's
And he'll
car.
start third, and watch for him because he's going to have a couple of cars in front of him. What will he do at the start?
All right, number 8 on board now. Scott Sharp, the gentleman who won it 1 year ago. Can he come back at the Delphi machine and win it twice for Kelly Racing?
3 warm-up laps for the drivers before they get the green. During these warm-up laps, what they're doing is scrubbing their tires, getting some heat in them, trying to actually spin the wheels a few times to get the pressures up. Very important. But then that first lap, cautions.
Kenny Brack, the power team from A.J. Foyt. I told you about the fact that they've had some suspension pieces. Well, they're going to have to make this a 2-stop race. And then Mark Dismore. As we said, Dismore would like to cash in today.
And this man, Raul Boisel, the Transworld machine, who had a great run in Orlando, only ran out of fuel a little bit late in the race. McCormick Motorsports ready to go racing today with Raul Boisel. 91, Buddy Lazier. Boy, this guy's been through some heartbreaks here.
Third fastest in the morning practice, but they had to change their engine, so he is flying blind, at least for the first couple of laps. They hope that they have put the car back together the right way.
And here's Sam Schmidt in my car, Sprint PCS, Treadway Racing entry. And Sam didn't have a good qualifying run, but Sam had a great warm-up this morning, and he's very confident he's going to go to the front.
And we're expecting Sam better take care of your car today, don't you think?
He better take care of it because I'm supposed to be testing it next Tuesday.
All right, let's go down to the pit area for Vince Welsh. He's got some late information. Vince?
Well, fuel management was the key to Scott Sharp's win here a year ago, and it figures to play a role again today. The fuel tanks hold 35 gallons of methanol. Teams get anywhere from 1.6 to 2 miles per gallon. If we have 20 to 25 laps of yellow, these teams should make it on a 2 pit stop run today. Calvin Fish?
Vince, last year in this race, tyres were running out before the fuel, but Goodyear and Firestone are confident with their tyre choices this year. However, track temps are higher than we've seen all weekend at 125 degrees. Quick note, Greg Race crew engineer Tom Knapp made a slight suspension change, standing up the right rear tyre, taking out some camber. Hopefully it'll be better in the longer runs.
All right, the field coming out of turn 3, the final laps of warm-up. The MCI World Comp 200 coming up here on Fox Sports Net. Look who's up in the booth there. That's Jason Priestley from the Fox Show Melrose Place 90210. I got it right, didn't I? Jason Priestley here as we prepare to go racing. And we'll keep an eye on the field as they come out of turn 4. The green flag comes out, and we're racing at Phoenix. And quickly down low, it's Mark Dismore grabbing the lead.
I think that Greg Ray expected a green flag. He hesitated a little bit, but Mark stood on it, went ahead, and took the lead.
Greg Ray in that yellow car let Mark Dismore in the red and black car get the jump on the drop of the green flag. But according to Greg Ray, that was by design, Ari. He said that he really wanted to back off just a little bit in the early going. He said, I'm going for the Pep Boys Indy Racing League championship this year and the $1 million. He said, I'm thinking points all the time.
The red, white, and black car is your race leader. Mark Dismore through turn 4 now, stretching his lead. Greg Ray starting to close in that bright yellow car, number 2. Team Menard, Glit, battling now for first and second as the field settles down. A safe start here at Phoenix. On board now, we watch him run. Mark Dismore.
Rhythm, so very important on a racetrack like this. Momentum, critical. Right now, the car that you're riding on board has got the momentum. But the yellow car directly behind him, well, he's got more than momentum going for him.
You just heard a slight blub blub. That was the car being on the rev limiter. It's a signal for Mark Dismore to go up a gear, because in the start of the race, on full tanks, the car is heavy. You go in a lower gear. Now he's going up to a higher gear and he's ready to go race.
Scott Goodyear now riding in third place, about 2 seconds back. Dismore and Ray continue to lead the field. 196 laps to go. We'll continually update where everybody's at in the field at the bottom of your screen.
All the drivers felt that because the temperatures were going to escalate today, that it would be a little bit of a crapshoot going into this race. They had colder temperatures to work with on Saturday. They had cold and wind on Friday. This is a whole new thing for them right now. But we've got 2 cars that at least looks like they have pulled out the right things to start with. That, of course, the 28 of Dismore leading the 2 of Greg Ray.
Greg Ray played it very smart at the start of the race. He didn't really go for it, just kind of feel out his car, settle in, get a rhythm. You have to make sure that you get the tire pressures up. The tire pressures have to be up before you really can go fast. The tire pressures on the car, they work like a spring. If they're soft, if they're low, they act like a softer spring.
Greg Ray now closing the gap a little bit now. 194 laps, 6 laps into this race, and we're glad you've joined us here on Fox Sports Net. Kick back and relax and watch the MCI World Comp 200 live from Phoenix.
Now, this yellow car, the Pennzoil Panther car, may not have been quick on the start, but he's beginning to close on that front combination, first and second. There you can see the separation beginning to close. And the green-white car there, number 33, hop off the drive by Roberto Moreno in the early going in the Team Trisselli car. Warner Brothers, a new sponsor on that car, and he is doing quite well.
This is his first IRL start, and really amazing for him to just come in with a team that is a virtually new team on the circuit to be performing this well.
So your top 5, Dismore, Greg Ray, Goodyear, Roberto Moreno, Scott Sharp. Last year's winner riding in 5th place now. Kelly Racing. There you see some great race action in the middle of the pack. Buddy Lazier in that purple car.
And right behind him in the red car, well, as we go back to the front, the reason we're going back to the front is you notice that the separation between first and second keeps seesawing back and forth. What does that do? That's an advantage for Scott Goodyear. Goodyear can begin to close in the yellow car, and that's precisely what we're seeing now.
Now what's happening right now, Scott Goodyear caught up a little bit to these guys, but he doesn't want to get too close, because if he cannot pass them, he's going to ruin his front tires because he's getting bad air. Being behind the other car is not good for your front tires, so sometimes you want to drop back, and it looks like Greg Ray has done just that.
We're watching Goodyear now as he works his way through turn 3 into turn 4. Here comes the race leaders. Right there, Mark Dismore, the black and red car, battling now. And look at Greg Ray, looking low. He won't get him. He won't get him in turn 1. Dismore stretches the lead again.
And there's exactly what happens when you lose your momentum.
We've got a move for second place. Goodyear now climbing into second place. Greg Ray is fading here, Ari.
Greg Ray, what he did, he made the pass maybe a little too late. He should have come out of Mark Dismore's drive sooner. He didn't really have an opportunity to pass him. He tried to make an opportunity, but he didn't pull it off.
So what is going on with Greg Ray's car? Let's check in with Vince Welsh.
Well, Dave, Greg Ray's crew radioed him and said, try to take Dismore in turn 1. That's where you saw him attempt to pass, because they said Goodyear is gaining on you, so go ahead and try to pass Dismore for the lead. But as you saw, he tried to get under Dismore in 1, and he couldn't get it, as Ari said, maybe a little too late on that pass attempt.
Just a great race going on right at the front of the pack right here with Mark Dismore. But now Scott Goodyear is closing in on him as well. It looks like Scott Goodyear right now is in the driver's seat with the best car out on the track.
All 4 spots are up for grabs, but the spot that's precarious right now, Dave, is the lead spot.
Here he comes. Here he comes. Making a move on the inside as they head into 1. And Scott Goodyear becomes your race leader now. Dismore falls back to second. Greg Ray thinking about it now. Here's Dismore on board, riding in second place. And here's the race leader.
And because Scott Goodyear passed Mark Dismore, it also again slowed Dismore down a little bit, stopped his momentum a little bit, and look what happens right here. Greg Ray takes advantage of that situation.
And Greg Ray making a move now on the inside. It works this time around. Greg Ray now in second position. Has an update on Scott Goodyear.
Well, following this morning's warm-up, Scott Goodyear and Andy Brown, his engineering consultation, they are very happy with the tyre wear progress with the right front Goodyear. Typically, that's a problem here in the very demanding turn 1 and 2, but they're very comfortable with the tyre wear rate. They think they're going to have a tyre that will last the entire stint. And Ari, as you mentioned, sometimes that is a concern around this Phoenix racetrack.
The field settling down. Calvin Fish has an update on Scott Goodyear. Well, following this morning's warm-up, Scott Goodyear and Andy Brown, his engineering consultation, they are very happy with the tyre wear progress with the right front Goodyear. Typically, that's a problem here in the very demanding turn 1 and 2, but they're very comfortable with the tyre wear rate. They think they're going to have a tyre that will last the entire stint. And Ari, as you mentioned, sometimes that is a concern around this Phoenix racetrack. out the back door now. Looking at the challengers. Scott Goodyear getting into some lap traffic now. Passing it up, making some moves. Here comes the challenger. Greg Ray in the bright yellow car now. There you see your race leader.
Scotty, you got Greg Ray coming.
That's very valuable information for Scott Goodyear. He now is told by his spotter, and we've got a great battle here between Scott Sharp and that red yellow car in the middle of that pack. He is working all over. It looked to be Dismore, but let's focus in on Lazier. Lazier in the purple car on the outside, really doing a tattoo on Sharp. But Sharp has the advantage, and that's Tice Carlson. Tice Carlson on the outside of Lazier.
Battling for 5th position right now. Scott Sharp trying to hang on to 5th. Tice Carlson, who has made quite a run, going to work there. There's Tice Carlson making a move down low. Carlson moves into the top 5 now.
Carlson had high expectations for today. He dropped over 30 pounds in the offseason to try and lighten himself up because you weigh these cars with dry weight without a driver. He's also said because that car is a car that has won here before. Back in 1997, the Blueprint team, he said, hey, I think this is the best shot I've had in a long time.
Donnie Beechler trying to make a move around Scott Sharp. You're watching exciting Pep Boys Indy Racing League action here on Fox Sports Net, the MCI World Comp 200. Let's don't go to break. We've got an accident in turn 2. We'll be... Join us on Fox Sports Net for live coverage of the John R. Wooden Award, given to the most outstanding college basketball player of the year, hosted by Kevin Frazier, Chris Myers, and Marcus Johnson. Don't miss it this Friday at 7 o'clock Eastern to 4 o'clock Pacific here on Fox Sports Net. Now, while we went to commercial break, here's what happened with Roberto Guerrero.
Guerrero in Price Cobb's number 50, the blue and white car, right there, just literally spun around. And Ari, they say that the drivers, especially coming out of the corner, if you don't get the bite, the back end will come around on you.
And what Guerrero has done here is, as soon as he noticed he was going to spin, he just kept turning left to make sure the car doesn't go to the outside of the track and hit the wall. And he got very lucky here that he didn't get collected by anybody behind him.
We're back to green flag racing now. Scott Goodyear maintains the lead. There he goes in the Pennzoil machine. Greg Ray is second. Roberto Moreno riding in third. Tice Carlson has climbed up the 4th position in the 20 car. And Mark Dismore, who led the early part of this race, is now 5th.
Mark Dismore and Scott Sharp both are fading a little bit. They don't seem to be that strong as they were in the beginning. This has happened before with Kelly Racing, where they're very strong in qualifying, but then fade in the race. Now these two drivers have to think, what do I have to tell my crew? Because I need to make an adjustment in the next pit stop. If I don't make an adjustment, or not the correct one, I can go back even further.
Mark Dismore now in 5th position, and Vince Welch has an update.
Yeah, I just talked with team owner Tom Kelly of the Mark Dismore machine. He said they missed on the stagger, and Dismore was extremely loose in the corners. That's why he couldn't protect the lead. They had hoped to bring him in on that last set of stops, but everyone didn't come in. So right now, Mark Dismore is just living with a loose race car.
And you can hear it. You can hear it. Listen to Mark go on the throttle and off the throttle quite a bit. He's quite, how shall I say it? He's afraid to go for the throttle because the back end of the car just wants to get away from him. And he's getting passed by somebody else right here.
Let's watch the pass now as there he goes. That's it. Eddie Cheever making a move. He's climbing up through the pack. Calvin Fish has an update right now on the spin of Roberto Guerrero.
Well, even though he didn't touch anything, guys, he flat spotted the tires. They had to make a pit stop just as bad the field went back to green, so he lost valuable track position. Also, Davey Hamilton was in the pits. He's been suffering from electrical problems all weekend.
All right, thank you for that report. And Eddie Cheever now in 7th position. Cheever making his move.
Now, Ari, you said early on that this place is so fast, so Roberto Guerrero is back out there, so we'll have to keep track of him. But give a call to this battle right here on the inside. Going around is Tice Carlson in the black and silver car. He is beginning to move up. He takes a bead on Scott Sharp in the red and yellow car. We'll have to watch because Carlson really is at the fit right now.
Battling for Blueprint, Emke Racing from Indianapolis, Tice Carlson. They call him T-Bone. He's out there trying to earn his meal today.
Scotty, how's the ride height right now?
The race leader trying to stretch his lead, Scott Goodyear. Out the back door, that's Greg Ray in the yellow car.
Not too bad. Not really touching too bad.
Battle continues up front. Scott Goodyear, your leader.
4th.
Passing some lap traffic.
One of the interesting things about Pep Boys Indy Racing League competition is they're starting to lose the right rear.
Their setup is going away on them. I mean, they're just struggling. Look at Sharp right now. Sharp is off the first page here. You can't find him right now.
Still there.
Scott Sharp trying to maintain composure, trying to stay in the hunt for this race. Wants to become a two-time winner here. There's the race leader, that black and yellow Pennzoil machine, battling up into lap traffic right now.
Let's go back about that lap traffic. What I'm referring to is the fact that you can be running 182 miles an hour, but when you get into traffic like this, as we look back and we see John Paul Jr. and we look forward, you have to be very careful. You have to back out of the throttle, maybe feather it for a second as you dip to the inside of that white car, Roberto Guerrero. If you're the leader, Scott Goodyear, you have to pick and choose your way. You can't go through like a hot knife through.
No, you have to anticipate a little bit. You can't just drive up to the guy flat out and then expect him to go out of the way and just drive around him. You have to anticipate and calculate your moves. At the same time, you're looking in your mirrors. What is my pursuer doing? I need to hold him on at the same time.
What a move by the man. Tice Carlson now climbing his way into a fight for second. He has taken over second position over Greg Ray. Wow, what a move.
And Tice Carlson is moving up, as you can see, but Greg Ray, as we saw him get to heavy traffic, immediately slowed down. His car is not working good in traffic for him. He has to make an adjustment during the first pit stop.
I'll tell you what, guys, Greg Ray's car may be fading, but not Tice Carlson. Carlson has got the momentum, still using the inside portion of the racetrack to his advantage as he blows by Stefan Gregoire, car number 7.
Tice Carlson with the $1 million smile. There he is going to work. And Scott Goodyear continues to lead. The lead about 1.5 seconds. He's got a yellow car against the wall in turn 4. Car in the wall in turn 4.
Car 8 will be your last car. They're coming down to the...
And it will be Robbie Unser has made contact with the wall. Heavy damage to the right side of the machine. Robbie Unser in the wall. You see the steering wheel coming out, and he's climbing out. It's good to see he's okay. Very frustrated with what happened in the accident.
Looks as if maybe Robbie had a hot seat because he was getting out awfully quick.
Looked like he was getting hot there. He wanted to get out pretty good, and he was... There he is. He's hot.
Dancing around, and watch out for that loose wheel rolling down the main straightaway.
What can happen when you have a crash like that? You can break a radiator hose, and then it spills into the seat.
That looks like what happened here. He crashed the right-hand side of the car where the radiator is. Water spilling everywhere, back into the car and into the seat. And the water is obviously very hot.
So Scott Goodyear makes it through the traffic, through the accident. The leader, Pennzoil, number 4, Goodyear, out the front. He'll tuck up behind the pace car down the main straightaway here at Phoenix.
He pretended like he was going to go into the pits. That's a kind of a tactic. But he doesn't want to go in the pits yet because the windows to make this race a two-stop race, he has to go till about lap 47. Around that lap for him to make it a two-stop race, and that's what he wants to achieve.
We're only at lap 38.
There's Kenny Brack, car 14, the power team entry from A.J. Foyt. One of the concerns that Foyt had coming from the back is traffic. Let's see if they touched wheels. They did.
Heavy damage to the machine. Some flame, too.
As they enter turn 3, cars touch wheels and just put them up.
All right, 38 laps complete. Scott Goodyear is your race leader, but Tice Carlson, Greg Ray, Roberto Moreno all charging the MCI World Comp 200. More coverage coming up next. The MCI World Comp accident.
Now we're riding on board the power team entry, Kenny Brack, and we're going to go back and take a look at what happened. Now let's just stop the cars right here. Just stop them right here. Let's identify who they are. Right there